After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Build Connected. I'm Pace.
And I'm Adam.
Yeah, we're doing it again. Football season right around the corner. The Birds.
Go Birds. Whew, it's going to be a good season. I can feel it. Another win.
Is that fantasy football talking, or is that like real data talking?
No, that's real data talking. I mean, if you want to know football numbers, I'm the guy. I'm just kidding. I don't know shit. But
Yeah.
I do love watching the Eagles play. And no, I don't do the fantasy stuff anymore. It takes up too much time. And then, when it's go time, I don't have my picks in. And next thing you know, I'm losing my $100.
Yeah, let me translate. Your friends took all your money. You're out.
Yeah, well, I'll take it all in poker when that
There
when
you
that comes
go.
back. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk about lighting today. Different lighting products are out there. We're in the topic of products. So again, lighting is where we're going to kick things off. And in our line of work, we're really in all different worlds of lighting. We've got under cabinet lights, recessed lights, your fancy sconces, designer stuff, all of the above. And in our many years of doing this, the most common light that we're installing are really those recessed lights. And we've had some projects where we've had some architects and designers call out some very, very expensive, insane recessed LED lights. And we find that these lights have caused issues over the years for us, and that's kind of an understatement. Sometimes these lights are hard to access when one goes down. Changing some of the parts in the very high-end lights can prove to be difficult. And in one instance, we've had to open up the entire ceiling to remove the fixture, which resulted in patching the ceiling and repainting the entire ceiling. But my point is, we've really found other products to take the place of those high-end, expensive recessed lights. And I'm not talking like a cheap fixture. I'm talking about a solid, nice, warm light that gives you the same look that maybe these high-end lights give you. So, that's one example. Another example is we have a project that we're on right now. I don't know if I think we've talked about it in our other podcasts. We're doing an outdoor spa where we have kind of a deck that's a few feet off the ground with a sauna and a cold plunge. And we're doing some step lights and some other low voltage lighting in this area. And I think, Pace, you have used this particular step light on your house. And I personally have used this same exact light that we purchased, except I decided to go with the high-end WAC light, WAC. I love the product, and that's why I put it in at my house. But we were able to find a spitting image of this product on Amazon for a third of the price. And I mean, everything about it is the same, 2700K, which is the warmth or color of the light, and the look of it, everything is identical. So I think the point of this product talk is, really review what's out there that could be comparable. And if you have a contractor that you're talking to about these kind of products, see if they have a recommendation for something that is similar but less expensive. I'm not saying something that's dirt cheap and crappy. That's not what we want. But there are a lot of this stuff is actually made in China, and you'll find that some of these companies will put the high-end stamp on it, and the others go to, say Amazon, and it's the same exact thing. So, some of you probably know this, but when it comes down to, plumbing fixtures, lighting fixtures, tile, all of these products, you really want to see what else is out there, see if you can save a few bucks. And again, plumbing fixtures we've talked about in the past. We don't like installing the junk, but there are some solid stuff out there that can take the place of these really super high-end products.
Yeah, I think that's right. Some of the knockoffs, they're stinkers, right? And some of them are the exact product. So I think just searching and seeing if there is a more cost-effective option out there. I've done it all around my backyard with the step lights and my landscaping lights. I've I've taken design selected products that we've used on our jobs and I've shopped and found. I'm using the word knockoff, but I really think it's like you said, the same product to great result. I've paid maybe a fifth of the cost, for the choice that I'm making, and the quality doesn't suffer at all. I think that's true in the inside of the house, like you mentioned. I talking about recessed lights. Man, I think that number one, you want a workhorse, right? You want something that's serviceable. It doesn't need a lot of maintenance, but if there is, like, replacements and parts are readily available. I'm such a advocate for that. Having something that's serviceable. I just think it's so important in your house.
Yeah,
But
the technology is there now, right, for these recessed lights, and we're finding that we're not even using these full recessed can housing lights anymore, right? We're just what we call it is just running a whip, which is just, the line voltage Romex wire. We'll just leave that up in the ceiling, and then when we're done the all of our projects and all the finish on the projects, we can just cut a hole in the ceiling, and they have these thin LED puck lights that come in really small, kind of 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch sizes. They're really low profile and they give you that warm light. Typically we always use a 2700 Kelvin light, which gives you that nice warm ambiance. But yeah, do your homework, do your research. Just don't go for the high end item if there's other options out there.
yeah, I love this topic. All right. I'm gonna switch gears now and talk about. We just had a recent meeting with a potential homeowner, and things that we've been talking about over the last couple of months. They all seem to come together at this meeting. So it was all about the design disconnect. We sat down for our initial meeting, and unfortunately, we were not there at the early stages, but we were referred. To this potential client, and their plan set was very well developed, ready for the permitting stage. And, the talk about budget just had not taken place. And so when we sit down, we start off the conversation talking about budget. Like, where is your comfort zone? We get a feel for that. We had taken really no more than, I think, 15 minutes with the plans before the meeting. And it was apparent that the cost of the project was, I don't know, probably double what the comfort zone was. And so, like, it was a combination of just not getting any feedback as the design was taking shape, as well as like various regulation things. We spent 3 weeks talking about Cal Green and Title 24. First 12 pages of the plans were all regulation stuff. It wasn't until page 13 that we hit something house related, if you will, like a drawing. Um, and then Yeah, the regulations tied to getting the permit, she was already overwhelmed, I think, by the process and the confusion that was coming from the city. And, I just think that, like I said, all of the things that we had talked about were hitting at the same time. And it just feels like the project, um, it's kind of it's got so many obstacles to overcome before hammers even swung. I don't know. What were your thoughts sitting around the table, Adam?
Yeah, we we were getting feedback from her that she was hearing the things that we were saying because we shared a lot of these things we've discussed in our podcast with her. But at the same time, we were hearing things from her that she was about to meet with her designer to start making selections on some various products, right? I mean, she's tile and other fixtures, but really we find that as going in the opposite direction. I mean, I think Pace, you and I were talking about how we found that that this particular client was a little bit over her skis in the sense that, um, the cart was before the horse here, right? I mean, the money is being spent, and she's so far along in the process. And the goal for us is really to talk about ways to scale back, maybe. I mean, that's really where the conversation goes. And when somebody is making decisions on finishes, they're going the opposite direction. So it's frustrating, but it's also difficult as a contractor in those meetings to tell somebody that they're wrong. And look, you're the bad guy here. You're not afraid to tell somebody, the bad news and be upfront with them in an initial meeting. And I think that's what kind of separates us from other people is we're not. And you were able to do that to some extent, and she heard that. But again, it's hard to rein things in when the train is moving so fast.
Yeah, you're right. I don't mind being the bad guy. I mean, to me, it's all about just being realistic and providing information and options, right? So that you can steer the project back into your comfort zone. Like you said, like right after our meeting, meeting with the designer to finalize some finishes, when that's just further you locking you into to that price, which is well above what you really want to pay. I think the option is just saying instead, well, where can we tighten things up, or where can we make some cuts and get the most important things out of this project, but yet come back on budget. I think that really is what needs to happen in this case. But the further you go, right, you're continuing to spend money on design and selections. I think the further you get trapped, right? Like I think the more money you spend, the more committed you become. When it feels like it's just time for a timeout. It's just time to take a pause and say, okay, reassess. What are my priorities? What really is my budget? Like, what is the point where if I go beyond it, I'm going to be unhappy? Um, I think that is where, the decision making has to be right now.
Yeah.
But it was just tying all the things we've talked about together in one meeting. Yeah.
It's hard too because as contractors, we want to try and gain trust from somebody in just a small amount of time in that initial meeting, right? Like our goal up front with talking to that person for the first time is to know what their budget is, and we ask that question directly. And I think sometimes these people, people in general, have this old school mentality of thinking, if I tell them what my number is, then they're just going to price that number. But that's not our intention, and we would never do that. Our goal is to understand that person's budget so that we can know if the scope of their project is completely beyond their means, right? And have that real conversation. So, um, that trust thing is a challenge for us because we did ask this individual that question and we did get an answer. But it's hard to say if people are holding back because in their back of their minds they're thinking, I'm gonna make the number a little bit lower because I don't want them to come in higher. But if you don't, for us, if we don't really know what that real number is, we can't really move our process forward in an accurate kind of manner. You know what I'm saying, Pace? Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, trust is certainly at the heart of it. I mean, your point is, like, from our perspective, we don't want to invest time in a project where we know we won't be a fit. So let's just make up some numbers here. Let's say that a project in our mind costs $100, but the potential client says, I only have $25 to spend. Like at that point, we have enough information to know that we're not going to be a fit on this project. And so as soon as we can realize that and not invest slash waste our time, the better off we are as a company, right? But if we feel like we're close, if we feel like this might be a fit, then we want to invest the time and we want to just be able to provide information for them to make decisions. So yeah, that's all based on trust.
Yeah, but this meeting was also unique for us, right? Because typically we come in early in the phase where there's no plans and permits done, right? We want to be there from conception, right? When we have maybe a rough schematic, we can start our pre-construction process that we've always talked about. But here, we were asked to come in, and the plans were pretty much complete and they were submitted. So for us, having that initial meeting, and we don't want to spend too much time, but we do want to see if we are a fit, and if we are, then as contractors, Pace and I have to make a decision on how we kind of handle next steps, and this is new for us because this isn't our standard process.
Yeah. I think that, well, we'll see. Like future episodes, we'll see if this conversation continues for us. It might be interesting how we kind of right the ship, and that might be something we check back in on. This might be the end of the conversation, right? And that's fine. But it might be the start of something, and if it is, we'll keep you updated on how we kind of course correct and get back on track with the budget.
Yeah.
All right. Fun stuff on a project, Mr. Adam. What do you think?
So we were recently back at a old client's project who we completed their house. I guess it's been a few years. It was a whole house remodel, and man, we hadn't been back since we walked off the job, since we finished the job a few years ago, and we were there to actually, we're building kind of a small little studio office, you could say, in their backyard. And the house just looked as beautiful as the day we left. And the homeowners were so happy, and you could just see they've really made it their home now and just enjoying every minute of it. And it just felt so good to walk into this place that we haven't been at for a while and just see it come to life. I think, it happens now and again where we get called back to an old client's house to do some additional work perhaps. And it's always a lot of fun to go back and see all the love that goes into these places, and the families really really locking in. Anyway, that's, I know we're not talking about something specifically interesting on a project, but as a contractor, it's a big, brings us a lot of joy when we get to do that.
I love it. I mean, I'm like, while the job is going on, I'm just, I don't know, call me cold, call me just,
Yeah.
like I'm
Oh,
all about like the business at hand. Like one step leads to another. I'm just like looking to complete each step. I'm looking at like numbers, estimates, making sure things were completed correctly and that the standard is kind of up to snuff for us. So like that's my mode, I think, when the job is going. And then we walk off and like you can see like a new house, if you will, but you don't really get to see the way people make it their own. And so like it's so heartwarming, right? Coming back later and they've settled in, they've made it their own. Like they have, because the day we leave, like it's new to them too, right? They haven't figured out how they're going to use everything. I mean, sure, you can say they can see it's pretty, but it's not theirs yet. And so coming back after that sort of long stretch, they've settled in, and it's man, you can see the joy, right? And you can feel it. And it just means so much. I mean, knowing what the transformation that you've been a part of. So yeah, it was great. It was great to be back in the house, and great to see that they had made it their home.
no doubt. What
No doubt.
up?
What up? All right. Well, thank you for another great week. We're gonna see you next week. We're coming up. This is a little teaser.
Ooh.
We're coming up on our 20th episode. Something a little bit different might happen. We'll see. So get ready for number 20. Could be a little curveball coming your way. But I'm Pace.
And I'm Adam.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.